What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. So, I want to talk about black women who attack other black women in the name of pro-blackness. All right. And this has been needed to be addressed for a while. All right. Um, I've seen this going on for quite a while. Um, but a recent situation that happened with two YouTubers doing a live stream together, causing, a little controversy within Black YouTube and how people kind of reacted to it. I was like, especially, particularly Black women, how other Black women reacted to it. It's like, hmm, this definitely needs to be explored. So this is partially a big reason why I'm making this video. All right. And I'll start off by saying that, well, I think just in case you don't know who I'm talking about, I'm not going to name names in this video. I don't think it's necessary at this point, but I'll just give descriptions. And if you still don't know, just ask somebody. All right. So one YouTuber has a platform that is dedicated to, helping Black women expand their dating options interracially. All right. The other YouTuber has a platform that is dedicated to addressing and tackling colorism issues. All right, those two YouTubers kind of did a collaborative live stream. They did a live stream together. All right, and then there was another YouTuber, probably some other YouTubers too, but there was another YouTuber who um, responded to that live stream. All right. And really, her response was more so targeted towards the YouTuber who talks about and addresses colorism issues, which is a little strange. And there's so much I could say just about that situation itself, but I think that will just veer me off topic. Well, not off topic, but just, yeah, it's just, would be a lot to talk about. All right. And this video is probably going to be long enough as it is with me just talking about what I need to talk about. All right. Um, but yeah, the YouTuber who had a problem, she's an older Black woman, very much into, health and I guess maybe holistic health, perhaps, or just, healthy living and environmental issues. I think you may know who I'm talking about. All right. So let's get into this. All right. So interracial dating, I'll start off, is more than just dating white people. And I feel like when Black women who attack other Black women for interracial dating do this, I feel like it's almost always centered around white people and specifically white men. They don't really tend to include other men in their rhetoric and their criticisms, or other groups of men, I should say. And I will say, though, the YouTuber who does have a platform dedicated to Black women interracially dating, um, I have heard that, she does tend to center it around white men. So, I don't, so it could be somewhat of a valid argument in that sense. But this particular YouTuber was addressing it towards the YouTuber who has a platform about colorism. I don't know. But I just wanted to put that out there. All right. Yeah. Also, there was a lot of misquoting too. That's something else that happens too. Like people will kind of like take what you said out of context, twist what you said, and just downright lie. Just straight up downright lie. Just make up shit. Yeah, like wait a minute, because I'm listening to the live stream that the older Black lady did. She did two of them so far, and I'm like, well, it actually wasn't the lady who talks about colorism, it was the lady who talks about swirling who said that. So I'm like, well, did you actually watch or listen to the live stream before you did this, or did you just get beeps from other people telling you this, that, and the third, right? Just hearsay, basically, you know. All right. And as well, like the lady starting the beef is old enough to be their mother. At least one of the ladies, right? The one who's directing, the one who she's directing her anger toward primarily. So that's a little strange too. And also disheartening, but sadly not surprising. Um, Also, where were her solutions at? At least the two ladies doing the live stream did give practical solutions, whether you like them or not. At least there's some, it's like something that you can do and something that I think could give you some sort of result, you know, um, a positive result, possibly at least. The older black woman who was speaking, her solution pretty much was just, keep hope alive. Wait, it'll happen. Hold out. And it's like, you know, what if it don't? You waiting and hoping and praying for, Black Prince Charming to come along. And what happens when the Black Prince Charming doesn't ever come along? And then it'll be like, they'll just flip it around and make it your fault somehow. And right? And I will say, I'll put this out here. You can still interracially date and still end up with a black man. Honestly, I think that may low-key even attract some black men to you, interracially dating. As quiet as it's kept. You know. So just because you interracially date doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to end up with a non-black person. If, you're just open to all options, including black men, right? All right. So next, and this is what I really kind of want to get into now. I really don't understand why some black women give other black women who swirl or even just suggest swirling as a possible option a hard time. I don't quite understand where that comes from. That animosity, that anger, that resentment. Like they want to just drag, the women who do that for some reason. I don't quite get where that comes from. Especially considering that black women know the fuck shit that they have to deal with when it comes to dating inside the community and trying to find and fight for black love, right? So shouldn't really they should be a bit more sympathetic considering that they know what goes on and how shit goes down. But oftentimes that's not the case. But I just thank God that black men, by and large, typically don't do this to each other. Thank God for that. All right. I think, even if the black men may not even agree with it, they may not be swirlers themselves, this, that, and the third. You don't really see that, thankfully. All right. Also, I think on some level there is some resentment that some black women who exclusively date in the black community have toward black women who, quote unquote, opt out. Opt out of dating, only in the black community, or just opt out of dating entirely from the black community, or just, opt out of the struggle love narrative. There's, some low-key resentment there. Perhaps because for one reason or another, opting out just isn't an option for those women who date exclusively inside the community. And of course, folks love to save face, So of course it's gonna be like, I just love my black gang. They just start singing the black gang song. Like, you may not have a kingdom, my black gang. You may not have a castle, my black king, my black king. You may not even have a crown, my black king. But you are still everything, my black king, my black king. Because I have low standards, my black king. You know, and of course, don't forget the classics like Black King is everything, and everything's Black King. And of course, you know, always, it don't mean a thing if it ain't about my Black King. Oh no, do up. Now that's a real classic right there. So while these women are, you know, very busy singing the Black King songs and singing the Black King praises and, you know, acting like they in church catching the Holy Ghost, these Black Kings, on the other hand, they sing in the damn King Kong and Miss Becky songs, right? Shit. Like, oh please, Miss Becky, let me be your King Kong, Miss Becky, all night long, Miss Becky. I don't care if it's wrong, Miss Becky. Mm-hmm. I know your dad is a part of the KKK, Miss Becky, but that's okay, KK, Miss Becky. I still love you anyway, way, Miss Becky. Now, Miss Becky, what you gotta say? But back to subject here. Back to the topic. All right. Opting out. You know, the whole black women, you know, going after other black women who quote unquote opt out. But really, doesn't black women, are these particular black women who interracially date, swirl, whatever you want to call it, you know, them opting out, doesn't that mean more black men for you and other black women who exclusively date within the community, right? So technically, shouldn't you kind of low key be encouraging them? Like, go ahead over there. Go ahead. More black kings for me. Oh pig me, please, black king, pig me. And then it's like, I'm a slave for my black king. I cannot deny it. I cannot hide it. I'm a slave for my black king. I cannot control it. I cannot hold it. Get it. So yeah, you know how that goes though. So why is there such a, like, it don't seem like it don't completely make sense. Cause it seemed like the Black Kings would be the thing that you would be like, this is so great, let me not share it, quote unquote. So I feel like there's some sort of an underlying issue or underlying reason why that is, that these women just aren't being completely honest about. And, you know, perhaps they don't know it, perhaps it's subconscious, or perhaps they just don't want to admit it. Um, but also, you know, considering the fact that the numbers aren't in black women's favor, you know, statistically speaking, if every black man did date within the community, I don't think there would be enough black men to go around for black women, right? And of course, you know, there's like a lot of other factors that go into that, but still, even if it was perfect, and like we all just dated within the community, it's still like some women would still be kind of quote unquote left out, you know, you know. So again, that just tells me there's more to the story than we may think. All right. And also, what's the goal when it comes to this type of, like, you know, attacking black women who interracially date or whatever? What's the goal exactly? You know, what are you trying to obtain exactly? Like, what's the end goal? You know, like, what's the end objective of this? Like, what do you get from black men from doing this, you know, going hard in the paint for black men's behalf, and, you know, convincing black women not to interracially date or whatever and attacking them for it, which low key is kind of like should be black men, convincing black women not to interracially date. They should be making that plea to them. Like, hey, stay in the community. Hey, there's no need for you to go outside in the community. Like it's like you kind of like tasking yourselves with tasks that you shouldn't really be doing. And I know, like I saw on a video that a YouTuber did who speaks a lot against interracially dating. Female YouTuber, you probably know her, in the pro-black sector of YouTube, right? And she had this video about marriage, black marriage. And I seen in the comments section way more black women telling other black women, not to give up on black men. I didn't really see a lot of black men in that comment section saying, hey, don't give up on us. That's interesting to note, right? And I also posted a comment saying, well, why don't I see more black men saying this? And I guess I forgot what the response was, but it wasn't really much of shit. But it was something to the effect of perhaps like, oh, we care about black love. We want black love for, our sisters. Or I don't know. I don't remember the response point blank. I tried to find it, but I couldn't find the video again. But it wasn't anything that was like, oh, that really resonated. Like, oh, okay. Just putting it out there. But yeah. But as again, you're doing all this for black men, supposedly, seemingly. But what do you get from black men that no other group of women get from black men? A Scooby snack? You doing all that caping and still probably ain't got no man. Still can't get these niggas to clap and cape for you, right? They don't protect you much at all. Partly because they don't care to, and partly because they don't have to, because they know you ain't going nowhere. Even if shit gets just so goddamn rough, tough, you ain't going nowhere. Where are you going? All right. Also, what do you get for doing everything, quote unquote, right? Right? What do you get when you do everything right? When you are, the pro-black woman who, never swirled, never did this, never did that, did everything right, right? What's your prize? What's your reward? Exactly. Right? That's something to think about too. Because sometimes when those women do everything right, they still kind of end up shit out of luck and end up fucked over, from a bad situation anyway. Like I talked about with the whole like Michael Blackson, Georgia Rain situation, right? I posted a throwback video on that. Like, what happens when you do everything right, right? And there isn't really an excuse that they can use. They're gonna think of something, right? But it's just something to think about, right? When you do everything right, what do you get? And and if you try to present this plea to black men, by and large, they ain't gonna be giving no fucks about your plea. Like, hey, you did everything right, and they're gonna just always find a way to make it because of you. The blame they ain't gonna ever place the blame on black men because they just staying on code, right? And that's just keeping it real. So be careful, be mindful about that. You're thinking you just gonna be the token pro-black princess or something, and that may work for a minute, for a while, but at one point or another, something's going to happen, and you are going to end up just like every other person that got screwed over. All right. And another thing, the pro-black attacks on black women by other black women often, really very much so, tend to circle back to interracial dating. Interracially dating, right? Also, please notice, I want you to please notice this, all right? If you don't notice anything else about this video, notice this, all right? When Black women start entertaining the idea of dating out and divesting, people get triggered. Black men and Black women get triggered. Both of them, both groups. In fact, they get way more triggered by that than when Black women are dissatisfied and complaining. Why is that? You know, again, it goes to show that you have more power and influence than you may think, Black women. You just have to realize it and to take advantage of it. Sometimes I think some of these Black women who engage in attacking other Black women who interracially date or who just suggest it as an option want to be the token pro-Black chick in the eyes of Black men, or, you know, quote unquote, the good one. All right, they're juxtaposing themselves with these swirling Black women so they can be like, oh, you know, I'm not like them. Look at me, I'm pro-Black. You know, I love my Black gang, and you know, I'll be your mammy anytime. I am your mammy, your big fat Black mammy. And there is no shame in being a big. But seriously though, again, they're just trying to, I really think, it's kind of like how some Black people want to be white people's token or quote unquote good one. Like, really, these folks, these people who engage in this type of stuff, they want a cookie. They want a Scooby snack, a butter biscuit, all right? Because that's how they get validation. And these women who do it, because it sure as hell ain't for their looks. Like, usually women tend to get validation based on their looks, you know, accomplishments as well, you know. But it's very much looks based when it comes to Black women in general. Very much, a lot of it centers around how women look, you know. Sometimes women have the look, sometimes they don't. And then there was another issue that was coming up where it's like, oh, you know, you're fat shaming Black women. You know, Black women are thick. Right? And I'm like, you know, yeah, of course, different folks have different sizes and all that good stuff, right? But I'm thinking it's more so about trying to, you know, tone up, be healthy, right? Not so much about fat shaming. And then folks were saying that, oh, you're comparing Black women to mules, to animals. That is anti-Black. And again, I think that was already addressed in the live stream, I think. I remember. So I'm like, did you even watch the live stream? Like, you're doing this whole live stream about a live stream that you didn't even watch, I don't think. Which is very just comical. And she did 2 live streams about the live stream, actually, you know. So that's something to think about too. And if you really think about it, it's such a performance. If you really think about it and just look at it, it really comes off as a performance. Sometimes it just be so dramatic and over the top with it too. Again, it's actually quite comical when you really just sit back and look at it. Right? Like, how many Black King songs do you got to sing? God damn it! And you know, the mammies, the pick-me's, the mules. You know, and again, mule meaning someone, in this case, I guess Black women doing grunt work, not necessarily a mule because of size, but perhaps you are a big Black mule, so it probably feels extra shady. But again, whose fault is that? That ain't our fault. That ain't that. Whose fault is that? That's your fault, ain't it? Like, but being a mule doesn't necessarily mean that you're fat, you know. But yeah, these mammy pick me mules are constantly searching for a cookie, butter biscuit, a Scooby snack from black men, and they will attack other black women to get said Scooby snack, cookie, butter biscuit. All right. But oddly enough, in some of these situations, like the irony is that some of these same women end up playing mammy to not only black men, but also non-black women and their mixed biracial children that they have, usually with their black brother. That shit happens. All right. You know, and also those same non-black women low-key feel superior to black women because black women end up seeking validation from these non-black women too. That's why they be playing mammy to them too. Right? Like, oh look, I did little biracial Becky's hair for you. Can I get a Scooby snack? Right? And another thing, like black women can't sustain a black love by themselves. If black men ain't involved with it and ain't on board, then what the fuck what the fuck's going? How are you gonna do that? It's like it takes two people, or two groups of people anyway. So if you're concerned about black love, then we have to address black men too, not just black women, right? And as quiet as it's kept, I think some black men on all sides of the fence, consciously or subconsciously, resent the mammies, the pick-me's, and the mules because they end up emasculating black men low-key in some instances, right? And I think black men go along with it for a while until it becomes emasculating, right? Because there is kind of like low-key some benefits to it. Yeah, be real. For these using these mammy pick-me's and mules, there is. But at one point or another, it turns into becoming emasculating. Then you have these dudes talking about, oh, you don't let a man be a man, or you don't let a man lead. You're emasculating, and this, that, and the third, and that's why they're interracially dating. Blah blah blah. Right? After all, men want to feel like men. All right. So if you keep taking away their opportunities to be men, then what do you got? Like, it's, you, how can men be men if they don't have the opportunity to be men? Because being men is, of course, about, biology, of course, but also about actions, what you don't do, but also more so what you do. All right. And another thing, onto another subject here. One YouTuber, the YouTuber who talks about and promotes swirling, and has a platform about it, right? She made an analogy on the live stream about black women complaining about black men, and kind of making an analogy toward like, oh, how parents maybe complain about their children not doing this, that, and the other. But asking for an allowance, and how, the parent will scold the children, but give the allowance. And it kind of feel like black women are sort of like that with black men. Like they'll scold them, but in the day, they quote unquote give them the allowance, And I think the reason why that is because I think black women know that black men can get the allowance, quote unquote, from. They don't have to get it from black women. They can, but they don't have to. Knowing that they can get it from other people, then it's like, okay, they feel compelled to give them the allowance so that they don't have an excuse to try to get the allowance from other groups of women, quote unquote. You know what I mean, right? But at the end of the day, though, if a nigga gonna leave, then a nigga gonna leave. It ain't nothing you can do. Like, again, you can be 100% on point and do everything right, and the nigga could still leave. So again, like, if that happens, don't be sad. Celebrate. It's nothing short of a blessing to get a fuck nigga out of your life. All right. Another thing I've been hearing going on too, extinction. Like, oh, um, dark skinned black people are going extinct. Are you serious? Come the fuck on, man. What the extinction? That's like me saying some bullshit like, light skinned folks, you know, we going extinct. Us light skinned folk, we getting bred out here. Like, wouldn't you look at me and be like, what the fuck you talking about? All right. And really, to be real, there's more dark skinned people, dark skinned black people than lighter skinned black people. You know, like if I go to like a quote unquote black event or black neighborhood or black social gathering or whatever else, like I tend to see brown skin and dark skinned black people. They tend to be the majority, right? I don't tend to see people who are reflective of me. Low key, you know. Again, that's not really an issue, but I'm just saying, all right? And low key, I've kind of, have sort of picked up on some other light skinned black men who low key are sort of surprised to see another light skinned black man in the vicinity or area. I don't think I said that word. In the area, in the mix. Low key, I'm like, person looks a little surprised. Because sometimes I kind of have felt a little surprised too. Like, oh, shit. Um, but yeah, extinction, I just don't see that really happening, especially in our lifetime. Come on. Like, let's be real. Like, unless, some government groups like does some sort of like genocide or something. But even then, you know. Also, another thing that I've heard pop up here, children who look like you must have your skin tone. And I really don't think that's completely true. Again, but the black community is very color struck, very color conscious, right? Very much about color, and then we get into this whole, fetishization, this whole like chocolate. I love chocolate. I just want my children to be chocolate. Like, very much fetishizing the kids too, right? And again, with this whole chocolate thing, I'm like, again, when I start hearing folks saying chocolate, I get the side eye, especially pro-black folks saying chocolate. I start to get the side eye. It's just, I gotta watch you, you know. And I know you black women especially, and some of you black niggas too. But you black women, I know y'all especially love to be talking about how chocolate, you are, how much you love chocolate, and all that good stuff. But again, I'm side-eyeing, you know, just saying. um, but yeah, children who look like you must have your skin tone. Is that necessarily true? You can still look like your parent even though you don't have the skin tone of your parent, right? Like, I actually don't have either one of my parents' skin tones, right? I think it's kind of just like a mixture of both of them, of both of their skin tones. But I do look like, at one point, I kind of did look like my mom when I was younger, in the face. But then when I got older, I kind of started looking like my dad in the face, right? And, you may or may not have seen a picture of me and my dad, right? So you can see and judge for yourself, all right? And as well, I don't think it's really. I think again, skin tone is a factor for some people because they're very skin tone conscious. They're very color struck. Skin tone is just something that really is important to them, right? And again, they're doing this under the guise of being very pro-black, and it looks good on the surface until you start really digging into it and just thinking that, okay, is this more so about pro-blackness or about fetishization, being color struck, being very vain, being fetishistic, I guess if you is that if that's a word, very much fetishizing the skin tone, right? Um, but I personally don't think it's true that you have to look like your parent and skin tone to look like your parent. Like you don't have to have your parents' skin tone to look like your parents. I personally don't think that's true. But again, skin tone is a factor for many people, especially Black people. All right. But I have never personally considered skin tone when thinking about the kids I would have. I don't have kids, but I never really thought about that actually. Um, like the skin tone of my kids. I guess I would prefer my kids to be black. Just because like I'm black, but perhaps I may have to consider other possibilities. You know. However, if I do consider other possibilities, then I would probably be raising my kids to identify as mixed or either to just go over to their non-black parent side if possible based on their looks. And as well, I kind of feel like if I were to do that, I would, it wouldn't really make sense for me to be talking about, oh, my kids are black and, swirling, swirling it up, talking about how black my kids are. But I'm like, when you're looking at the kids and they're like white passing or like very much extremely ambiguous, And I made a video about this. I feel like if you're light skinned, mixed biracial, and you want black kids, then you need to have black kids with black people. Like it's more than enough brown skin, dark skin black people, to have kids with. Beautiful brown skin, dark skin black people, not chocolate, brown skin and dark skin black people, you know, both genders. So something to think about. But yeah, what if I did have kids that I guess, quote unquote didn't look like me, I guess. As far as skin tone, I don't know. Like, oh, whatever. I guess maybe because the family I come from is like a lot of variations in skin tone, so I guess it wasn't really a big deal for me. But perhaps if you do come from a family that is very much like, oh, only light skinned people or oh, only dark skinned people, then perhaps that may factor in, and as well as other factors too. But like, I don't feel like I would feel any sort of a way if like I had a dark skinned son, you know. Like, okay, it's just me. The chocolate variation of me, since y'all love chocolate so much, right? Um, but I just got a few more things to talk about. I know this video long, y'all. All right. But I will say, I will put this out here. If you are a dark-skinned, brown-skinned black woman who has hate, jealousy, animosity, resentment, whatever, toward light-skinned, mixed, biracial women, then I strongly suggest you don't put yourself in the position to birth light-skinned, mixed, biracial women. So in that sense, if you are that sort of a brown-skinned, dark-skinned black woman, then yes, I would highly suggest and strongly suggest you don't have a biracial, light-skinned, mixed child. Um, oddly enough, something that happens that hardly is ever called out. Some of these light-skinned mixed biracial women who do that shit, right? They get with the darkest nigga in the room, like the darkest nigga in this tri-state area, right? Nigga that's darker than 1,001 midnights. And for you sensitive motherfuckers out there, there's nothing wrong with being darker than 1,001 midnights, all right? But yeah, they get with these dudes, and then kind of like when the child, especially the daughters, come out dark skinned, sometimes, the light skinned mixed biracial moms sometimes ain't feeling it, as quiet as it's kept. And some brown skinned, dark skinned black women with light skinned mixed biracial moms have stories to tell about how their moms kind of act toward them. Not saying all of them do that, because they don't, not all of them, but some, you know, that is definitely something worth exploring, right? But of course, we know that's not going to happen, right? But I'm going to bring this video to a close. You know, I've gone on for long enough. So, you know, thanks for watching if you got to this point. All right. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Please let me know what you think about this. Until the next video, adios and goodbye for now.